Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a one book review. The book that I will be talking about is If You Only Knew. This is by Kristan Higgins. That's what the cover looks like. So I'm just going to be giving my kind of in-depth review on this book, what I thought of the plot, the characters, if I'd recommend it, who I'd recommend it to, how many stars I gave it, all that good stuff. So if you would like to see my review on If You Only Knew, please keep watching. Alrighty, jumping into it. So this is If You Only Knew by Kristan Higgins, just in case you needed a reminder. Let's see, from the Amazon page, it says, the drama, hilarity, and tears of sisterhood are at the heart of the thoroughly captivating new novel by New York Times bestselling author Kristan Higgins, a funny, frank, and bittersweet look at marriage, forgiveness, and moving on. This is a book that I listened to via Audible. I listened to it through Audible on my phone while I was out walking my dog, so that is how I listened to it. I was asked to review it and I was sent a regular ebook ARC copy of it. I just chose to purchase it with my own money from Audible because I thought it would be a really good one to listen to online via a narrative, and I was right. So far I've made really good choices with the Audible books because any book that I say that I buy from Audible to listen to, I am buying with my own money. These are books that are not being sent to me for review. A lot of times I am being asked to review it and I do say yes, I get sent the regular copy, but then I'm like, I think I'll just purchase it myself and listen to it via Audible. So I didn't want to throw that one out there. So this is what I did for this one as well. It takes me a little bit longer to listen to than would it be to read a regular book or something on my Kindle, because even though I would say on average our walks are like 30 to 40 minutes long and we usually take 1, 2, or 3 a day, but sometimes I'm calling my mom during those times, so I'm not listening to the book. Sometimes I'm walking with my husband. So, okay, enough about Audible. That's really not interesting at all. So basically in If You Only Knew, we follow two characters, and this is Jenny and this is Rachel, and they are sisters. And they both are at a time in their life where they're going through some hard times, both very different, but still they're in the same boat that they're going through a lot of stuff right now. Now for Jenny, she is a wedding dress designer, which I thought was really cool because a lot of times in the book, she has a new store that she's opened up and she's working with brides. There's a lot of really good subplots in there with brides that she's designing dresses for, including one bride in particular who I will get to in a little bit here. But I thought that was a really interesting thing to read about. But Jenny's situation is that she is divorced from her ex-husband, and her ex-husband, he is like the greatest guy in the whole world, and he's a good doctor, and he's just a good man, he's a good person. He didn't do anything wrong to Jenny. Like, he did not cheat on her, he didn't have an affair, he didn't abuse her, he didn't do anything like that. He just one day basically said, I don't love you anymore, I don't see us being happy together, and they got a divorce. And it was just a few months later that he meets, I believe it's Anna Sophia, and they get married very quickly. They have a baby, and Jenny is very hurt by this because she just wants to be a mother so bad. Like, all throughout the book, that's a big part of her, is that she wants to be a mother so bad. She wanted to have children with her husband. He didn't want to. That was one of the big things in their marriage. And then he immediately remarries and has a child with his new wife, which really hurts Jenny. But kind of an interesting twist on this is that they are all still really good friends. So Jenny is still, she has dinner with her ex-husband and his new wife. They go to parties together. They talk to each other on the phone. And interestingly enough, Jenny actually helps deliver the new wife's baby at the baby shower, because of course it's like the classic, she went into labor and gave birth at her own baby shower, and Jenny is the one that helped deliver the baby. I'm like, no, that's pretty wild. So there's that whole interesting take on things, is that even though she is divorced from this man, he's still a big part of her life, but not only he, but now his new wife and their new baby, which is constantly, to me, I feel like just rubbing salt in Jenny's wound. They didn't have kids, now he's got a child, and I mean, whoa. So she basically is going to start over, moves out of Manhattan over to Hudson, and opens up her new wedding dress shop. She's going to be closer to her family, her sister. So she just wants to try to start over and try to move on, even though it's so hard for her to do because it's like she always has this link to her past that she just can't move on from. Which is kind of wild because, like, yes, it's great to be friends with your exes. In marriages, it's a little harder, but if you have children involved, I get that it's easier. They didn't have children involved, so it's like, why are you still friends? What do you... Ooh, doesn't that hurt every time you see them? No? Okay. So that is Jenny. Then we have her sister Rachel, her younger sister Rachel. Rachel's situation is that she is married to a successful man. They have 3 triplet daughters. They were not able to get pregnant for so long, and they finally went through, you know, all these treatments and got pregnant with triplets. So now they have their 3 girls. And pretty early on in the book, it appears evident that Rachel finds some evidence that possibly her husband is having an affair. She confronts Adam, her husband, about it. It's a text message that she found on his phone. She confronts Adam about it and, you know, asks if he's having the affair. And his response is basically like, how could you think I would do that? I would never do that to you. Kind of like guilt trips her into it. And then, of course, it turns out, yes, he is actually having an affair with one of the partners at his work. So we go through that. I mean, that happens pretty fast in the book. I don't feel like I'm giving anything away by saying that because that happens pretty quickly in the book. But still, it was like, I just remember walking and like my heart was pounding when she actually figured out that he was really having the affair, and listening to him talk and try to talk his way out of it. I just remember my heart beating so fast because I was so mad. Like, I was so mad that this man tried to guilt trip his wife into thinking that, you know, he wasn't having an affair. He's never done anything wrong, made her feel so bad about herself and questioned herself. And then he really is. And especially the things that he says to Rachel about the affair that he's having, about why he did it and how he just couldn't stop himself and all of this. Like, oh my gosh, I was so mad. And I just think that's such a mark of good writing, is when you can just feel so many different emotions as you're reading or listening to a story, that I felt like I was right in there in that office with them. I felt like I was Rachel's best friend who, you know, felt it in her heart too when everything was coming into play. Like, I felt it. So I can't say enough good things about Kristan Higgins' writing. The whole book to me was so good. But anyways, before I get into that as well, little spoiler. So then the rest of the book is basically life after finding out your husband is having an affair. You know, what will Rachel do? Will they stay together? They now have 3 daughters. She hasn't worked in so long because she's always stayed home with their triplet girls. And, you know, what do they do? And I hated Adam's character. I just hated him because she would say things like, you know, I'm going to leave you. I'm going to take the girls and I'm going to leave you because I don't believe that you're stopped having the affair. He keeps lying to her and she's finding out his lies. And his responses back is basically like, well, what are you going to do? Where are you going to live? You know, like you can't make anything for yourself, basically, is what he's saying to her. Like, you don't have a job. You probably won't be able to get a job. Like, what are you going to do without me? Like, you can't not have me. And it just infuriated me so much. And so Jenny and Rachel and their 2 lives, you know, they come together. They're talking about their issues. Rachel is leaning very heavily on Jenny, as the whole affair is playing out, and Jenny's trying to be the older protective big sister and help her out. There's a lot of sister drama that also happens as well, basically because of the affair, that the night that the 3 characters, Rachel, Jenny, and Adam, get together and have a very kind of public argument, I was so mad at everybody. I was mad at everybody. Like, I remember having so many emotions and telling my husband about it. Like, can you believe that happened? And he's looking at me like, it's a book. Like, why are you so worked up? Like, my husband, I think he struggles to understand how I get so invested into the characters. But I remember like talking his ear off about it one night, which again, just a mark of another great book. As all these scenes are playing out, then we kind of have two other subplots coming in, and one is with Jenny that she meets. So she moved from Manhattan to Hudson. Her new landlord is Leo, and there's some sort of connection between her and Leo, but he has a very like mysterious past. He seems very guarded. You kind of think that they're probably going to get together, but then you're kind of like, ooh, I don't know, because he's just a very unique character, a lot of fun to read about. Then we also have another subplot with one of Rachel's friends, one of her guy friends, is getting married. And her guy friend is like from a very successful, well-known, wealthy family, and he's marrying someone who doesn't fit into that mold. And there's a lot of issues between the bride and the groom's mother. Jenny is making the wedding dress. Rachel is a bridesmaid in the wedding, so they're very heavily involved in all of this. And then, if all that isn't enough, there is a crazy plot twist in here that I did not see coming. And once it clicked that it was happening, I was like, no way. So the plot twist, I really won't get, I'm not going to tell you what it is because I want you to read it for yourself, because when it happened, I was just like, oh, I'm walking with my dog and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. Oh my gosh, what are they going to do? What is she going to do? But basically the plot twist revolves around Rachel and Jenny's dad, who has passed away. He was involved in a murder, I guess. Is that the right word for it? I mean, yes, murder. At like a gas station. A gas station was being robbed and he happened to be in there getting something to drink, and he ended up being one who got shot. So their dad has been passed away for several years in there. Their mom is a funny character, but at the same time, I hated her too, because the mom is someone who's very like all about me, and very much making like snide and rude comments to her daughters all the time, that I was like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with this woman? But she's never been able to get over her husband's death. The plot twist has a little bit to do about an affair that Jenny discovered several years back, that her dad was having an affair, and then before really anything was able to come to light, he was murdered and killed. So she's kind of always hung on to this grudge about her dad, and she's never let little sister Jenny know, because Jenny has her dad is the greatest person in the whole wide world, yada, yada, yada. So she's never wanted to kind of taint that version of their dad for her sister. Something about that plot twist that comes into play that I just thought, oh man, it really shocked me. And if you've read the book, I would love to hear your thoughts on it and what you thought about that part especially. But that is a very long-winded explanation of what we have going on in the book. As I've already said, I absolutely loved it. I was always so excited to get out there and walk with my dog because I couldn't wait to hear what was going to happen next. Again, truly a mark of great writing to me is when you feel like you are in these situations with the characters and you feel like you can relate to them. You feel like they're talking to you. You feel like you can talk and they're probably going to hear you and take your advice, just crazy things like that. But I was so impressed. There's so much going on in the book. Like, there's all these different subplots. There's all these different characters. There's all these different things going on, but it was never confusing. It was never confusing to me, especially, sometimes even when you only have two main characters, sometimes with books that have 3 or 4, it can be a little bit more confusing. But even sometimes when you only have 2 characters and you're going back and forth, especially when you're listening to it in narration and you have the same voice going on, you have the same voice in your head, you're kind of like, okay, this was this situation and this was her, and like it's almost can be confusing as to what's going on. I was never confused between the 2 characters. I was never confused at anything as what was going on. Nothing ever felt rushed to me, but at the same time, nothing ever felt like it was being drug out, that there was any situations being drug out. The ending surprised me in a lot of different ways. There's another kind of very smaller plot twist that happens with Leo that kind of explains a lot of things, and what happened with his character at the end. Honestly, I was kind of surprised. I really wasn't sure where that was going, and then I thought it was going in one direction and then it flipped and went in another, and I wasn't mad about it. And then especially with Rachel, I had no idea. I truly had no idea what she was going to do, if she was going to be able to move on from the affair, if Adam was really ever going to end any of his affairs. I just thought he was like the slimiest of all slimy creatures. And I just really had no idea where that family was going to end up. And then I was really excited. I mean, it is a smaller subplot, but I was excited to see about the wedding with Rachel's friend and Jenny's client that she's making the dress for. I was really wondering how that wedding was going to come to play, if there was going to be any more twists or surprises along the way. There kind of is. But overall, I mean, I gave it a 5-star review. I absolutely loved it. It is one I very highly recommend. If you can get it on Audible, I suggest you do that as well. If you do not have an Audible membership, I will leave a link below. I think it's something like you can sign up and get your first 2 books free or something like that. And then it's just like a month, you get charged a monthly fee, and then that fee goes towards, you can have 1 audiobook, something like that. But I will leave all the links below to this book, to Kristan's website and social media. I'll put on in the description box below. But yes, one that I highly recommend to someone. If you like women's fiction, definitely. If you like kind of more deeper or serious women's fiction, yes, most definitely. Just a book that I was very passionate about. I talked to a lot of people about it. I talked to friends about it. I talked to my husband about it. I talked to my mom about it. It was just a book that made me want to talk to people, which I think is so beautiful, because that's the whole point of why I started my blog. It's the point of why I'm getting here on YouTube. It's so I can talk to other people. I can talk to other book lovers about the books I'm loving, why I'm loving it. We can have discussions about it. I just think that's so cool. So link to my review on Chick Lit Plus will be below as well, so you can see all the words that I wrote down there for you. But yeah, that basically as a wrap up, those are some of my thoughts on the book. I loved it, and I really hope you'll get it. Okay, so that is all that I have to say on If You Only Knew by Kristan Higgins. Yes, it was a 5-star book for me. I highly recommend it. I hope that you will be able to pick it up. All the links for the books on Amazon, Audible, Barnes & Noble, wherever I can find it, will be in the description box below, as well as any social media links that I can find for the author as well, and also my review that I did on Chick Lit Plus. That will all be in the description box below. Let's see, do I have anything else to tell you? CLP 6 years is still running. I believe the giveaway will still be going on by the time I get this video up, and that is for authors. I am giving away 1 free blog tour with the company CLP Blog Tours that I run. I think it's closing Friday night, so you have until Friday night to go ahead and get entered. That link for the giveaway will be below as well. 1 author will be chosen to win a free blog tour, and I'm so excited to be able to give back to authors. They're always doing so many good things for me, like donating books for prizes and things like that, so I'm just really happy to be able to give back to them as well. We will have another giveaway, a book giveaway, coming the following week, so be checking for that as well. But I think that's all I have to say for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you like. Give it a thumbs up if you like the book reviews. If there's any other books that you want to see me do reviews on, please do comment below and just let me know, and I will take note of that. And yeah, subscribe before you go, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.